semuanya, perkenalkan nama saya Dinda Safira Utami. Kali ini saya akan mempresentasikan TOEFL test dari halaman 139 sampai 148 dengan NIM 0230024011052. Oke, dari halaman pertama, dari halaman 139, ini potongan penjelasan dari halaman sebelumnya yang dijelaskan oleh teman saya. Di paragraf pertama itu kesimpulan kalau misalkan profesornya itu bilang urutan orang-orang yang pertama sampai di Alcatraz itu ada Spanish explorer, then a military prisoner, next a federal prisoner, and finally a tourist. Kemudian di sini ada kotak yang judulnya Procedure for the Academy Lecture atau prosedur untuk mengerjakan lecture atau soal-soal TOEFL. Yang pertama, listen carefully, dengarkan baik-baik apa yang disampaikan. Yang kedua, bisa gunakan visual untuk memperjelas. Yang ketiga, fokus sama makna apa yang disampaikan. Keempat, relate the remaining visual, maksudnya kita gabungin visual untuk menjadi relate atau sempurna. Yang kelima, listen carefully dari questionnya. Yang keenam, kita coba mengerti apa yang dipertanyakan. Yang ketujuh, jangan panik. Ke-8, klik jawaban yang menurut kamu benar. Ke-9, bisa klik next jika ingin mengunci jawaban. 10, bersiap untuk soal selanjutnya. Kemudian dari halaman 140 ada skill 32 judulnya Recognize the Organization. Di paragraf pertama ini ngejelasin kalau ada jenis soal TOEFL yang jenisnya itu organization. The types dari question atau tipe dari questionnya ini ada matching question sama ordering question. Kemudian di sini tuh ngejelasin juga kalau misalkan organization soal organization ini untuk mengukur seberapa tahu kita tentang jenis, proses, kronologi, ataupun seberapa paham kita dengan apa yang disampaikan gitu. Kemudian di sini ada example 1 from the computer TOEFL test. Narator tuh udah bilang kalau misalkan professor is talking about burns atau jenis-jenis luka bakar. Professor said, today I'll be talking about different kinds of burns. First degree burns are characterized by some redness to the surface of the skin as well as pain and swelling. In second degree burns, the upper layers of skin are reddish and damaged. And there is evidence of loss of body fluids. In third degree burns, the skin is whitish or charred and there is damage to tissue beneath the skin. Using this passage classification about various types of burns. Pertanyaannya, what characterizes each of this type of burns? Nah, kan tadi kita dengar nih apa yang udah disampaikan. Jadi kita udah bisa jawab. First degree burns itu ciri-cirinya pain and swelling. Kemudian second degree burns itu karakteristiknya upper damage to upper skin layers. Third degree burns itu karakteristiknya tissue damage beneath the skin. Kemudian halaman selanjutnya di paragraf ini dia itu nyimpulin apa yang udah dijelaskan sebelumnya, apa yang udah kita jawab di pertanyaan sebelumnya. Di sini ada example 2 from the computer TOEFL test. Narator bilang kalau the lecture is on early ballooning. Jadi menjelaskan tentang history of balloon. Profesor ngejelasin, today I'll be discussing some major event in the early history of ballooning. The first important event took place in June of 1783 when the Montgolfier brothers of French sent up a large smoke-filled cloud balloon without any passengers. Only a few months later in the same years, French scientist Jean-François Pilatre de Rozier became the first person to go up in the balloon. 2 years later, French balloonist Jean-Pierre Blanchard and American doctor John Jeffers made the first balloon fly across the English Channel. It was not until 1793 that the first balloon ascents in the United States took place when Jean-Pierre Blanchard gave a demonstration in front of a large crowd that included President George Washington. You think this passage presents a series of historical events in chronological order. Question: the professor described a series of events put event in order. Oke, kita bisa jawab karena tadi kita udah dengar apa yang disampaikan profesor. Yang pertama, itu ada smoke-filled cloud balloon without any passenger. Smoke balloon. Kemudian ada the first person to go up in the balloon. The first minute balloon. Kemudian 2 years later, the first balloon fly across English Channel. Dan yang terakhir, the first balloon ascends in the United States. Gitu. Kemudian di halaman selanjutnya, itu paragraf pertama menjelaskan jawaban kita tadi dari urutannya. Kemudian ada example 3, the computer TOEFL test. Narator bilang the lecture is on a major river of the world. Professor, today I'll be talking about the major river and river system of the world. The 4 longest are the Nile River in Africa, which is 4,145 miles long. Kemudian the Amazon River in South America, which is 4,007 miles long. The Mississippi River system in North America, which is 3,710 miles long. And the Yangtze River in China, which is 3,436 miles long. You think this passage classification about different rivers. It's also ordered the river by lake. The question, the professor is discussed major river of the world. Put this river in order from the longest to shortest. Nah, kita bisa jawab. Yang pertama ada the Nile River in Africa. Kemudian Amazon River in South America. Lalu Mississippi River system in North America. Dan yang terakhir Yangtze River in China. Kemudian di halaman 143, di paragraf pertama itu menjelaskan jawaban kita tadi, urutan river dari yang terpanjang sampai terpendek. Di kotak ini ada, you see the question, match each river to its location. Nah, kita suruh mencocokkan lokasi di mana river itu berada, gitu. Amazon River itu adanya Amazon River itu tadi kita udah dengar ya, kalau Amazon River itu adanya di South America. Terus Yangtze River ada di China, sama Nile River ada di Afrika. Exercise 32. Listen to each academic lecture and try to determine how the information in the passage is organized. 1. What type of organization is used in the first passage? Untuk jawaban yang pertama itu, kan tadi kita udah baca kalau misalkan first paragraph itu isinya classification. Kemudian soal nomor 2, what type of organization in second passage itu ada ordering, isinya process or chronology. Yang soal nomor 3, what type of organization is used in third passage itu both classification and ordering. Kemudian ada TOEFL exercise 32. Listen to each passage and answer the question that accompany it. Question number 1 and 2. Listen to a lecture in geography class. The professor is talking about lakes. Number 1. How are each these lakes described in the lecture? Number 2. How was each this lecture formed? Number 3. In the lecture, the professor described how to process fossilization get started. Summarize the process by putting the step in order. Ada lagi number 4. In the lecture, the professor explained what happened to the bright bones. Summarize the process by putting step in order. 5. In the lecture, the professor explained what happened after the hard tissue has fossilized underground. Summarize the process by putting the step in order. Number 6. In the lecture, the professor described the cold press process. Summarize the process by putting the step in order. 7. What are different grades of olive oil? 8. What the different types of olive oil product by the cold press process. Nah, di sini udah ada teks atau apa yang listeningnya gitu. Untuk number 1 dan 2, untuk number 1 and 2, Professor, today we're going to look at 3 of the world's largest lakes, the Caspian Sea, Lake Superior, and Lake Baikal. Each of these lakes was formed in a different way, and these 3 lakes clearly demonstrate the 3 major ways that a lake can form. The first lake I'm going to discuss is the Caspian Sea, which is the largest inland body of water in the world. The Caspian Sea is a saltwater lake between Europe and Asia. It's believed that this lake was originally connected to the world ocean, which would account for its saltwater content. As the Earth's plates move, this arm of the ocean was cut off. The next lake I'm going to discuss is Lake Superior, which is one of the Great Lakes in North America and is the largest freshwater lake in the world. Lake Superior, along with other Great Lakes, was formed by glaciers. Glaciers covered the northern part of North America until 10,000 years ago and were responsible for carving out the Great Lakes, including Lake Superior. The third lake I'm going to discuss is Lake Baikal, which is is in Russia. Lake Baikal formed when the Earth crust broke apart at a fault. Because Lake Baikal formed over a split in the Earth's crust, it is a very deep lake, the deepest lake in the world. Lake Baikal is so deep that even though its surface area is much smaller than the surface area of Lake Superior, it could hold the water of all the Great Lake combined. Number 1. How are each this lake described in the lecture? Kita bisa lihat pilihannya apa saja. Lake Superior. Lake Superior itu tadi kan kita udah denger ya dan udah baca sama-sama juga. Kalau dia itu adalah Lake Superior itu adalah large inland body. So, jawabannya large lake. Kemudian ada Caspian Sea, itu large freshwater lake, dan Lake Baikal itu deep lake. Number 2, how was this lake from? Kalau yang superior, dia itu dari cut off from the ocean. Kalau Caspian itu carved out by glaciers. Kalau Lake Baikal itu create over a fault in the crust. Kemudian question number 3, 3, 4, and 5. Di sini profesornya menjelasin fossil are generally considered to be the remains of plants and animals that have turned to stone. There are a number of processes by which a living organism can be converted to a fossil, but each of the known processes generally have a number of characteristics in common. After an animal dies, its soft tissues break down. After the soft tissue have decomposed, only the hard parts of the body, such as the bones and teeth, remains. Over a long period of time, the hard tissues becomes buried under layers of sediment. As more layers of sediment cover the hard tissue, it becomes buried more and more deeply. When the bones are buried deep in the earth, they come into contact with groundwater and change begin to occur. Mineral from the groundwater seep into the bones, and over long periods of time, the mineral eventually replace the bones. This is actual step when fossilization occurs, when mineral from the groundwater have replaced the actual hard tissue from the original body. The buried fossils remains, which are buried deep within the earth, may then make their way back to the surface. As the earth moves, the remains are pushed around. If they get closer to the surface, they may either actually reach the surface, where they can be seen, or they near enough to the surface, where they can be dug out. Soal nomor 3 itu, in the lecture, the professor described how to process fossilization get started. Summarize the process by putting steps in order. Kalau untuk yang nomor 3, kita itu bisa lihat dari paragraf 2 sampai dengan paragraf ketiga. Kemudian untuk nomor 4, in the lecture, the professor explained what happened to the breed bonds, summarize the process by putting the step in order. Untuk yang nomor 4, jawabannya itu yang pertama adalah layers of sediment cover the bones, kemudian the bones sink to the level of the groundwater, kemudian mineral eventually replace the bones, dan yang terakhir jadi yang ketiga itu ada mineral eventually replace the bones, kemudian baru yang terakhir layers of sediments cover the bones. Number 5, in the lecture, the professor explained what happened after the hard tissue has fossils underground. Summarize the process by putting the step in order. Number 5, itu jawabannya. The fossilized remains are buried. Kemudian, the remains may be pushed close to the surface. Lalu, the earth moves the buried remains. Dan yang terakhir, human has discovered the remains. Untuk yang number 6, kita bisa baca di sini. Professor, today I'll be talking about various types of olive oil and the process by which they are produced. Olive oil can be produced by a cold process or by a heated process. The highest quality oil are produced by a cold process. Let me explain. The cold process olive oil can be made without heat by pressing very ripe olives, but because no heat is used in this process, the color and taste of the olive oil is not affected. What results from this first pressing of the olives is called virgin olive oil. You may also have heard of extra virgin olive oil. Like virgin olive oil, extra virgin olive oil is from the first cold pressing. Extra virgin olive oil is made from special olives with a low acid content. Thus, extra virgin olive oil has lower acid level than virgin oil, but they both come from the first cold pressing of the olives. After the olives have been pressed once, they are pressed again numerous time. Olive oil that comes from a later pressing is called cold pressing olive oil. It's not called virgin olive oil because it comes from a later pressing. Now we'll talk about pure olive oil. Some olive oil is called pure olive oil rather than virgin oil or cold pressed olive oil. If an olive oil is called pure olive oil, it means that it contains only olive oil, but it was not obtained through a cold press process. A product called pure olive oil has often been obtained from a heat process, which has an effect on the color and taste of the oil. The final type of olive oil I'd like to mention, butterfly, is like olive oil. When the label of a bottle of olive oil says that it is like olive oil, this probably means that the oil in the bottle is not pure olive oil. Some other type of olive oil has been added to the olive oil to lighten the use. Dari sini kita bisa jawab nomor 6. In the lecture, the professor described the cold press process. Summarize the process by putting the step in order. Number 6, jawabannya yang pertama, virgin olive oil result. Kemudian, the olive are pressed for the first time. Lalu, the crushed olives are pressed. Kemudian, cold pressed olive oil result. Number 7, what are different grades of olive oil? Number 7, jawabannya itu kita bisa lihat dari keseluruhan teks. Jadi yang pertama, olive oil of high quality itu jawabannya like olive oil. Kemudian virgin olive oil itu olive oil mixed with other oils. Kemudian yang terakhir, pure olive oil itu olive oil affected by heating gitu. Number 8, what are the different type of oil product by the cold process? Ada from the first pressing with lower itu extra virgin olive oil. Kemudian kalau high acid itu virgin olive oil. Kemudian from a later pressing itu ada cold pressed olive oil. Kemudian kita lanjut ke page halaman 148. Example from the computer tool test. On the computer you hear Profesor bilang, Halley's comet which passed by our planet every 76 years. Let's come by our planet in 1096. This comet has named after astronomer Edmund Halley, who correctly predicted its return in 1758, 16 years after his death. You think this passage gives direct and indirect details about Edmund Halley and Halley's comet. You see the question, what is stated in the lecture about Halley's comet? Jawaban itu, it come by once every 76 years. Selanjutnya, oh ya, jadi halaman 148 ini udah masuk ke materi baru. Listen for direct and indirect details. Nah ini nih maksudnya yang di paragraf 1 ini, I'm sorry ya kalau kelewat ininya. Itu dia tuh bilang kalau misalkan kita harus fokus sama detail-detail yang disampaikan, yang di direct informationnya dari soalnya. Kemudian kita bisa menjawab pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang biasanya about direct and indirect detailsnya, dan biasanya itu bersifat multi choice juga. Jadi di sini di question ini materi ini itu ada juga yang tipenya multi choice. Contohnya ini, you see the question, what does the lecture say about Edmund Halley? Nah itu bisa click on to answer, itu kita bisa milih 2 jawaban. Oke, mungkin segitu dulu yang bisa saya presentasikan. Maaf kalau misalkan ada salah-salah kata ataupun kata-kata yang kurang jelas. Thank you. Terima kasih udah memperhatikan. Kurang lebihnya mohon maaf. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.